Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. Got how do the Baltimore Ravens keep getting away with this? Let's check this out. Pretty sure this is about Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey possibly being Strap City is definitely finna be going crazy this year for us, bro.
Nate Wiggins out of Clemson.
The best secondary in the league.
He is such a polished cover corner. His tape was excellent. He can play man zone. He's so fluid.
They don't have to rely on Lamar Jackson to figure out how to get the first down. All you gotta do is turn around and hand the football to that big old diesel.
Derrick Henry.
His way forward.
Bro, the season needs to hurry up already, bro.
You guys, I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into the Baltimore Ravens at this point, because not only has this team already put together a great free agency, but they also just had a great draft, in my opinion, that honestly makes this team better than they were last year. I know that might sound a little bit crazy considering how good they were last year, but when I look at this roster, I think they got better in certain spots that could arguably make them better overall, and I don't think Ravens fans would disagree with that. And man, I'm just going to tell you right now, if everyone that they added turns out to play like I think they're going to,
I feel like Tez Walker is going to play a huge part in this team this year, bro.
Going to be one of the scariest teams in the entire NFL to play against. But before we get into why I believe that, if you like Baltimore Ravens content just like this, make sure to go down and hit that like button and also subscribe so you don't miss any Ravens videos for the remainder of this offseason.
Bet.
Okay, so to get back on topic with the Baltimore Ravens, this team, of course, is coming off a season where everyone thought they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought we were going to win the Super Bowl, too.
They not only had the best defense in football, but they also had an MVP quarterback and one of the best offenses in football.
We had top 5 offense last
year. They ended up losing in the NFC Championship to the Kansas City Chiefs, which was obviously a bit of a disappointment. Now, even though we wanted to see them win that game and we wanted to see them in the Super Bowl with a chance to win that, I'm still hopeful for what this Baltimore Ravens team can be, considering, like I said earlier, they might have gotten better this offseason. And there's no better place to start than this defense, because we all know the Ravens defense is what made them as good as they were last year. And I absolutely love
bro, we have a great defense literally every season. I think other than the 2021 season, we've had an elite defense, bro.
Able to add to it. The first thing they did this entire offseason was sign back that guy, Justin Madubuike, and this is probably bigger than anything else they could have done. I mean, this is a guy that absolutely broke out last season at the defensive tackle position, putting up a whopping 13 sacks at defensive tackle. Pretty unheard of.
Best defensive tackle in the league now.
Most of the time, you don't hear interior defensive linemen getting double-digit sacks, but this guy didn't just reach double-digit sacks. He got 3 more than double-digit, which just shows how good of a player he really is and how much he adds to this defense. One of the biggest reasons why the Ravens defense was as dominant as they were last year was them being able to rush the passer at an extremely consistent rate, so adding him back is going to allow them to repeat that same success. Now, outside of him, you also brought back Kyle Van Noy, which is another great re-signing, in my opinion, that is going to make this defensive line good once again. And then, of course, you have everyone else who's already on this defensive line, like Odafe Owe and Michael Pierce, which really just rounds out this unit in totality. Especially when you consider you also went out in the draft, and in the 3rd round with pick 93, you were able to draft that guy, Adisa Isaac.
14 and a half sacks.
Wasn't the greatest once you got past the first couple of guys, but this is one of the guys that I was extremely high on due to the fact that he has great size, and he also is extremely athletic, which gives him a super high floor. He's 6'4", 249, and at the combine, he ran a 4.7 while also having a 34.5-inch vertical, and when you watch him on tape, you see that athleticism everywhere. He has a pretty good first step, and he also does a good job of mixing up the ways he uses his hands.
We got Ojabo coming off injury too. Hopefully he can get things going and stay healthy.
I do think he's going to be a solid rotational pass rusher that adds to what this pass
rush is Robinson showed flashes last year.
What's so great about this Ravens defense is that even though this defensive line is extremely talented, I don't even think they're the best group on this defense due to what they were able to add to the secondary. The Ravens secondary was already one of the best in the NFL with all the guys they had there, but in the draft, they were able to add even more
Wiggins,
to it, which
TJ
just makes them that much more scary. The Ravens, of course, already had their #1 corner in Marlon Humphrey, who still plays at an extremely high level, of course, already.
bro, I'm pretty sure you just put BK's stats right there for Humphrey, because there's no fucking way Humphrey had 13 sacks,
had
buddy.
the #1 corner in Marlon Humphrey, who still plays at an extremely high level whenever he's on the field. And then outside of him, you still had Brandon Stevens, who put together a great season last year, and you re-signed Arthur Mallett, who I think was a great guy to re-sign because he played really good for you as well. But to add to the corner room, in the draft, you went out and got in the first round that guy, Nate Wiggins, out of Clemson. There's going to be differing opinions about Nate Wiggins as a player, of course, but in my opinion, he was the best corner in this draft. So to be able to
he was my CB2 behind Terron Arnold.
Absolutely unbelievable. The only real knock on him as a player is that he's a little bit underweight, but outside of that, he does everything else that you want a corner to do at the highest.
I mean, that allows him to be so fast, though. Dude ran a 4.2 at the combine.
He literally just turned 21 a month ago, and on top of that, he plays the ball really well, and he is extremely fast and fluid. He, of course, ran a 4.28 at the combine, which is just ridiculous, but what I love to see is that you see that on his tape the entire time you watch it, which means he's going to be able to run with whoever you put in front of him. I just can't believe that we're about to see a duo that consists of Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins on the same field.
Best cornerback duo in the league.
That is just unfair,
prove me otherwise, bro.
And I think we're going to see Nate Wiggins
feel like that's exactly what we about to witness.
Be a pretty solid corner in the NFL. But what's even crazier about this Ravens defense is they didn't just stop there. They also went out and drafted TJ Tampa out of Iowa State, which is another massive steal in my opinion for a 4th round pick. TJ Tampa's a guy that was projected to go in the 2nd round or at the minimum in the 3rd round. So to be able to get this guy in the 4th round with what he brings to the table is just insane to me. He's another guy that has great size at 6'2".
And then we went out and we signed Bo Braid in free agent, well, not free agency, but like as undrafted free agent too, bro. Like that was definitely a steal. I don't know how he went undrafted,
which rounds him out to be a pretty solid corner in my opinion. He's not scared to be physical. He wants to get up in your face and press you if he can. And you also see his length be pretty disrupting at the catch point, which are 2 pretty promising attributes. So with that being said, I think you could argue that the Baltimore Ravens have the best corner room in the entire NFL. And when you pair with that you have Kyle Hamilton, one of, if not the very best safety in the league,
best safety in the league.
This secondary overall on paper is just unreal to look at. Not to mention, you also have Marcus Williams.
And Williams dealt with a lot of injuries too.
Played really well last year, which just adds another cherry on top.
Hey, if he can stay healthy,
you got to have an offense to pair with the defense. And I think it's pretty clear that the Ravens are going to have a great offense as well. You, of course, have Lamar Jackson, who was the MVP last year, who's going to play great football for you once again. And to add to that, in free agency, you went out and signed that guy, Derrick Henry.
It's still, like, bro, it still doesn't seem real that Derrick Henry's a Raven now.
In the NFL. It's already hard enough to keep up with what Lamar Jackson is doing in the backfield, much less add Derrick Henry to that, one of the best running backs ever, which is why I love this addition so much, especially for the price they got him at. Now, to pair with Derrick Henry, you're still going to have Keaton Mitchell, who's a great 1-2 punch, in my opinion, with speed to go along with Derrick Henry's power. I think we're going to see that used a ton by Todd Monken to really let this run game live up to its full potential. Now, as far as the passing attack goes,
forget about
I know
Justice
they don't have
Hill,
the greatest
bro.
weapons ever, but they do have Zay Flowers, who broke out last year as a rookie, who I only think is going to get better. You've got Rashad Bateman, who's going into year 4. You added Deontay Hardy, who's more of a gadget guy that you can use in a lot of creative ways. You drafted Devontae Walker, who does have some kinks in his game, but he's an extremely fast and good vertical threat that could open up this offense a ton. And then finally, you have Mark Andrews coming back from his injury, and you have Isaiah Likely, who broke out as well
tight end duo
in
the
league,
bro.
does give you a decent amount of weapons to work with. And to pull everything together, I think we saw Todd Monken do a really good job last year with the modernized offense that he used, so I only expect that to get better in his 2nd year, which means that this offense is probably going to be pretty good once again. And man, if everything turns out like it's looking right now on paper, this Ravens team is going to have a chance to be a serious contender once again for the 2nd year in a row.
Hey, man, what do you guys think? I think my Ravens might have the best shot at winning the Super Bowl this year. Hey, of course, the Chiefs are going to be good as always, but I feel like we might have a better chance than we did last year because we actually have an elite running back that we can depend on in the playoffs. I hope we actually run the fucking football this year, bro, if we get to the playoffs, bro. But hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on our post notification, notify whenever I drop another banger video. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang!